Hi, this is Dave, Fell Running Guide. This video I'm going to talk about some landscape features called re-entrants and spurs. So we sometimes hear these terms when we're talking about the landscape. So if we could visualize what the actual land features look like by looking at the map, looking at how they appear on the map, that can really help us when it comes to navigating. So what are we talking about when it comes to talking about re-entrants and spurs? What is a re-entrant? Well, we can think about a re-entrant as being a miniature valley. And if we were stood in a re-entrant, the ground on three sides would be higher. So if we're stood at that point there where the arrow points to, we can see that the ground to our left would be higher, the ground to our right would be higher, and the ground ahead of us would be higher. The only lower ground would be behind us, back towards the camera. A spur, well, that's the opposite. And that's a point where the ground on three sides is lower. So again, if we were stood where the arrow is pointing to, we would have the ground to our left dropping away. The ground to our right here would be lower, and the ground behind us with our back to the camera would be lower, and the ground ahead of us away in the distance would be higher. So lower on these three sides. If there was water running in the re-entrant, which way would it be running? Well, it would be running from high ground to low ground, so it'd be running towards the camera from the high ground in the distance, snaking down and running towards us. So what would that look like in terms of contour lines? If we were to draw an imaginary contour line on the map, so that's a line that at all points is equal height, so it doesn't go uphill or downhill, we'd see that the contour would be above the base of the re-entrant here. It would snake around and then it would get to a point where it would actually come back on itself at the same height. This is just a rough contour that I've drawn on there. If we actually look at it on a map, we would see something like this. So the A and the B, I've just put this on here for a previous task to ask people which is higher. But we can see these contours here. See how they snake in and out and in and out? Well, can we work out which is a spur and which is a re-entrant? Well, remember that the kinks on the contour when we've got a re-entrant, the kinks point uphill or upstream. So we've got a re-entrant there, a re-entrant there, and a re-entrant there. And that water will be flowing down from left to right as we look, because this kink here and this kink here and this kink here points uphill or upstream. We've also got another re-entrant where there's no water running in it. Again, we'd be able to know that kink is pointing uphill. So if there was water running, it would run in that direction. So what about spurs? Have we got any spurs on the map? Yeah, there's one. So that's a bit of land jutting out with the ground lower ahead, lower to the left, lower to the right. You can also see one there and one there. So those are those features on a small scale. What about scaling up to look at much bigger features in the landscape? Have we got any re-entrants and spurs on this map? Well, here look, we see that kink in the contours again. That kink there with the stream running from north to south through this big re-entrant. And then a spur here, look, put an arrow on the map. That big wide spur there. So how would these look in real life? Well, there we've got the photo. There's that huge re-entrant, this big feature here, and then this big wide spur to the right there. So that is spurs and re-entrants. Hope you found it useful. Hope it explained a few things. Thanks for watching.